changed, you got my refill, so we're ready to rock. Rock and roll. I'll move myself up here so you all can see the action. Alright, and we're winding towards the end of the series, so yeah, we'll have a few minor content switch ups here on the channel. Once Phoenix Wright is finished out, I can either begin with the second game in the series or simply replace this series with Fallout 76. And then, of course, War and Peace will be replaced with 100 Years. Joy is always thank you. Joy, and as always, thank you for watching. I had to check. Okay, we're on episode 5, day 3 investigation. So this episode's drawing on quite a ways. February 24th, 3:12 p.m. Wright & Company Law Offices. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. She's referring to the serial killer in the SL9 incident. I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dart killings. Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. Lana wanted Drake convicted so bad. Drake, dyslexia. Lana wanted Dart convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So that means you. Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial. I didn't see that one coming. Okay, we still have a mountain and a half of evidence. Yeah, it's hard to say what ground we're going to cover in today's investigation because we've already got so much evidence. Okay. SL9 incident. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Dark. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage, but before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then, what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck, and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. A permanent picture? I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence, and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. Rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. So it's true, even though he may not have known. Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. What did you see in the instant that crime occurred? Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Your Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma. You've been through so much. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that incident. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago, you must have been 14. That's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies. Find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way Lana would never have to forge any. I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in Lana's office at that time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. Why would they have needed to forge evidence? Seems like there was a bunch of evidence. I mean, he murdered a prosecutor in the prosecutor's office, and Emma saw it all. Like, why did they need to make up anything? He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. But why did you run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective offices and the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective? I'd better have another talk with her. It seems everything is somehow related to this incident. What was it labeled again? The SL9 incident? Yes, the name of everyone connected to this trial is listed in here. All that's left is to figure out just what role everyone plays in this case. If we search hard enough, I think we'll find our answers. What exactly did or didn't Lana do? Not sure I want to know everything. Seems like we're gonna have to talk to Lana at some point. What's the significance of this? Texas AI-16. What's that got to do with anything? Nothing, apparently. At least that's what Edgeworth said. That makes it seem all the more suspicious. Who knows, this might turn out to be the clue that breaks the case. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, it says something about Gant. believe 777's Gant. Pretty sure. Okay, we got detention center. I think we're gonna need to talk to Lana anyway. February 24th, detention center visitors room. There she is. Lana. Mr. Wright. It seems I keep causing you trouble. Seems so. You're also not talking a lot for some reason. Falsifying evidence? I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? Because you represent law, order, and justice? Like, do you know what your job is? Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Exactly. Technically, it's even worse, I think, for you to make morally questionable decisions because it could undermine the very fabric of the legal system and justice system. Believe me, I understand the risks. Emma told me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago, and how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details, especially about that unusual change of jobs? I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. At trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. What do you mean? I've already said, like, you had a decent enough amount of evidence without needing to forge anything, like... At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15, there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana. What the witness, Miss Starr, said about you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. See, I was wondering when we were going to get around to that. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma. This doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so phased before. It's true, I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. I still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together. Chief Gant? He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked at the crime scenes. Damon Gant. He was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Wow. Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes so you could use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. And I'll do just that. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Yes, Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office, and the same investigations. We even had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. So wouldn't he have had a role in the forgery of evidence too? Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall, and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place, when he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. See, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. Damon Gant and Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's where he found me. So you were the first person to run to the scene, Laura. It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her. After all, her sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. We were all involved in the SL9 incident. That's right. Quite a coincidence, I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident, just by chance. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself, the Chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the Chief's office, the site of the final SL9 murder. What can you tell me about this? Attorneys and prosecutors have no business showing evidence outside court. It's taboo, especially when the interests of both parties are involved. It sure really means it. You could be going away for murder, so you might want to think carefully. Okay, I can't present anything to her, it looks like. Not even the picture that she's in of her wearing the blood-covered gown. Prosecutor's office underground parking lot. No one's here today, not even Miss Starr. Everyone's probably busy looking into what exactly went down in that evidence room. That must be where the detectives are. We proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15 p.m. Yeah. Thought we were finally making some headway in our case. But instead, it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. Gotta find all the answers by tomorrow. Yeah, it still doesn't look good for her. February 24th, High Prosecutor's Office, room 1202. Edgeworth isn't here. Maybe he's being questioned by an inquiry committee. Took a real beating in court today. Yeah, with Lana admitting to falsifying evidence 2 years ago, I guess we'll just have to come back later. Hopefully I don't need to examine anything. Just right for Mr. Edgeworth. No kidding. Hey, there's a card on it. To be or not to be Wendy. I think I've already read that. Yeah, I think I have. I've already seen and done everything there's to do here. Let me advance. I'm gonna try to complete this episode as soon as I can. February 24th. It's Marshall. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall. Never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Que sera, sera. You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? Should have known my luck would run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Oh, just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. But Mr. Marshall, why'd you do it? And why is he just out walking about? He basically proved in the last episode that he attacked Officer Meekins. Like, shouldn't he be in jail for, like, attempted murder or something? Why do prospectors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about it, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting steak lunch today. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. The detectives thought so. What do you mean fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon? You mean that switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Dark's, alright. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. A question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there's a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence? That case left behind scars on all of us. The scars that the SL9 incident left behind. So, was Goodman killed with the same weapon that his brother Marshall was? Is the question. He got looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. Not a Freudian slip. Oops. I just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was he, your brother? He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? You mean the King of Prosecutors? I knew it. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The day the SL9 incident took place, that was the same day as... That's right, it was the day of the evidence transfer. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall there was thunder. Can't believe 2 years have gone by already. Tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently someone tried to stop him. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. The star was fired, and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? Who are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gann, Lana Scott. The investigation lead, Damon Gann, his second in command, Lana Scott. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah, Damon Gann, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her had said so. Chief Prosecutor Sky was totally different when she was a detective. Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina, but her secret's too well guarded. I never found out. On a secret. It all started 2 years ago. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. Someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. Exactly, like, why wasn't Damon all connected to the falsification of that evidence? I don't know. Too bad I won't be around to work with you. When you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. Criminal affairs. We're gonna run into Gumshoe. This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted. That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. If you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. With the chief prosecutor saying what she did and the decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media in tomorrow's trial. There's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for those. Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it? It's okay for us to go on there? You aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right. We can't go on there, it's off limits. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Now what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office. Okay, let's just go there. February 24th, Police Department, Chief's office. There's a giant organ. Whoa, where am I? In the chief's office, silly, at least that's what it said on the door. He has stained glass windows in his office. Like it's a church or something. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me. Sorry, skip right over it. I never could remember where C was. Oh, shoot who? Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. So, Righto, have you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too. Mr. Marshall's conduct. Alana's provocative statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence. 2 years ago have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? That's a picture of Lana, Neal, and me. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Marshall. Prosecutor Neal Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. There's the plot behind Neal Marshall. We have that in our evidence collection. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it though. Gant team picture added to the court record. Lana's also holding a sword for some reason. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go up together. Oh, but this office. It was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? The case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said that there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. I'm sure you would be saying that, considering you fudged half the evidence. Looks like we aren't welcome. It seems that case isn't over with yet, after all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied a request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? There's got to be a way we can get inside the chief's office. bell. Detective Gumshoe, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long? Actually, I'm serving everyone coffee. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Say, have you seen Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask? It's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battle's between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Yikes. Okay. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Well, this guy's the guilty party here, isn't she? Regardless, the prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor kept him safe from those who don't like him. But now with this, there's really so many people who hate him. Now we're one of those with talent rise to the top. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know for making enemies. Hey Dick, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat. Yes, sir. Gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. Seems you don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, careful not to stick out. Anyone a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. Actually, I took a look at the file while the coffee was brewing. Seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Dark left behind was during his trial. His final attack. His final attack? You mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to protect some girl? Me. Seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? Oh, well, let's see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. Might jog his memory. Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just a run-of-the-mill businessman. A businessman? What made him take to serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. His car? So it was an accident. Accident, yes. But it transformed him into an animal. An animal? He killed the man that witnessed the accident. Then he killed the lady who saw the second crime. The kid walked by then, so he killed him too. Then he was burying the bodies. The jogger came upon the scene and was killed as well. Finally he turned himself in. Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. Really? He killed like 5 people, and there wasn't a shred of evidence? Like, he killed like 6 people in a row. So he turned himself in. Yes, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. The crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Dark was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness, aka Emma. Okay, let's go ahead and present him with the murder weapon. And about this. Hey, is that? Has a tag attached to it with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker. On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker. It was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler. That's it. Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me. Well, what is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again. Okay, is there anything else I need to present to him? About that jar. I think I've seen it before somewhere. Somewhere? Maybe it's one of those memories people have from previous lives. This must be the most uninformed detective I've ever met. Something about it makes me feel uneasy. It's like I'm in the chief's office and he's yelling at me. Chief Gann? Where could I have seen that before? Here, maybe? Let me share a little advice with you as a detective. If you don't have a clue, keep your trap shut. I'll keep that in mind. He can't make the connection between the pot and the pot that's in that picture. Strange. Murder weapon. This knife. It was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at. Plus, it had fingerprints on it too. But no one actually witnessed him use it to murder anyone, right? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you see it's broken. You don't have to take a good look to notice that. Yeah, well anyway, take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Where was it? The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound. Did it match Dark's knife? You bet, down to the last fiber. That's pretty conclusive. Neil's autopsy report added a record. Again, why did they need to forge evidence? Switchblade knife updated in with the court record. The broken tip was found in the victim's body belonged to murderer Joe Dark. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Gann. It's not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. Chief's out now and his office is locked. We'd like to have a look around if that's okay. Well, the detective's ID card can unlock the door. What, really? If I let a civilian in there, I'll be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust? Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh, sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's. That won't work either. The data was deleted the day that he died. Oh. So in other words, Gumshoe's our only chance of getting that office. I wonder if there's something we could show him that would make him change his mind. Which means there definitely is. Just what is it? The incident report? Study up on those files. There's nothing wrong with Mr. Edgeworth's presentation. I think people are accusing him of injustice. I for one ain't buying it, pal. You looking into the case for Mr. Edgeworth? Yeah, it was a pretty big deal while it was going on. After all, the serial killer was on the loose. But one that was pretty clear in her confession. She forged evidence in order to prove Joe Dark guilty. Why? I don't know. Why was that even necessary? That's a decal record, isn't it? Yes, there's only one number left to investigate. 4:20 p.m. The victim, Detective Goodman, must have entered the evidence room along with someone else. Someone with an executive officer number. 77777. That's 17 too many, Detective. An executive officer. I just might have a hunch. Scan. Scan, dude. Okay, there's something I need to present to him. But what? Single stab wound, died from blood loss under 10 minutes, weapon found, and wound was missing tip. Man, it's like we're solving two different cases at once, like... What the heck? This ID card belongs to the victim, Detective Bruce Goodman. You can do just about anything these days with a card and a secret number. It's scary. It's only scary because you keep dropping your card, Detective. Shoot. Get my secret number locked too. I'm scared of myself. But on me after all. What could be wrong with that? I think I'll stay out of this conversation. Found Mr. Edgeworth's car, stabbed with Mr. Edgeworth's knife, huh? Who would drive Chief Prosecutor Sky to do such a thing? Wait, I didn't mean, sure. Of course, someone else really did it. Someone who must have a grudge against Mr. Edgeworth. What do I present? I got something in my eye. There's so much evidence. What the heck? Why is there so much evidence? What's up, Diggs? Yo, yo, yo. Thank you for watching the show. Don't forget to follow. We got a ton of evidence. Something that we present to Gumshoe is gonna make him say something new. What is it though? No locker came open without a fingerprint match. Besides, there's no reason for the murderer to touch his own locker. Hey, wasn't your locker the one with the blood on it, detective? The handprint of the real murderer's gloved hand, without any fingerprints. Shh, if they come to arrest me, you'll defend me, won't you? If that happens, I think you'll do better pleading with Edgeworth. Every glove. Nada. Yeah, we just have so much evidence, it's like... Quite a lot. Hey, that's it. That's the King of Prosecutors award that Mr. Edgeworth got the other day. You got the award ceremony, Detective Gumshoe? Of course, pal. Got an award for diligence myself. Ah, congratulations. I was wondering, why is the award a shield? And why is it broken? There's a reason. I'll tell you what it is later. Apparently he's forgotten. Alright, let's see. It would make a lot of sense if there wasn't, like, so much evidence. Okay, we're almost... I think we're almost to the end of this game. Got a couple more days to go. I think Diggs, I'm just gonna have one chapter today in my reading series. I was saying Russian author series too, but it's already 1:30 here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's late and early at the same time. Is that all we had to do? Present the switchblade? I think I already did. I guess I didn't. I don't know. I can't remember. So much. It has a tag attached to it with the label SL9 incident. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Yeah, we've already been through this. Okay, can I move on? Okay, and now I need to return to Edgeworth. It's telling me. Hopefully I didn't miss something, because we can. I wonder if Edgeworth is back yet. There he is. Looks like he's writing something. What are you doing here? Trying to solve 2 cases at once. Edgeworth. Sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh? I've had to live the past 2 years with rumors flying around. That's because there was shoddy detective work on the last one, and for some reason you needed to forge evidence to put away a serial killer. What's another allegation to make? Cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm rooting for you. That's Edgeworth for you, always trying to hide his real feelings. So what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. Touchy. I wonder what he was writing before. Come on, Mr. Wright, let's take a look. Are you crazy? Edgeworth's sitting right there. Just distract him. I'll check it out. Hey, Edgeworth. Is that Detective Youngshoe out the window over there? Oh no, he's falling to the ground. Hold on. First let me see what this girl's doing crawling around my feet. He didn't even look. What letter of... If you're having trouble reading, I'll read it for you. It says letter of resignation. Resignation? Edgeworth, you don't mean... I'm tired, Wright. I feel as if something inside me has died. But Mr. Edgeworth, none of it is your fault. I know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked hasn't been adjustable. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. And no one else should forgive me either. Uh-oh. I think he's serious. Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something. This letter of resignation, I wonder if I can use it for anything. Seriously? Letter of resignation put into pocket. Edgeworth discarded letter of resignation. He's serious. He's a pretty good prosecutor, I don't know why. Even with all the rumors, I don't know why he's considering it. Okay, we gotta talk up a storm. With edgy forged evidence. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to. Nothing I can do can erase that fact. But you didn't know, did you? I mean, that evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error. My responsibility is the prosecutor in charge. The fact remains the same, no matter what excuses I might have. Mr. Edgeworth, I take pride in my work. So tell me why. Why has it all come to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Because you didn't do your due diligence, dude. Are you up for the trial tomorrow? This is last year's trial, and now this one. Seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves. But Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial. Tomorrow is the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I bet that's what my superiors are banking on. I never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this. What do you mean? The list of evidence. It seems too short. Dude, we've got like literally 30 different pieces of evidence. Most lists run twice as long. It's only half as long as most lists? That's odd. After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty. That was really the only thing on my mind at the time. Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time. That picture, something seems strange about it. Let's ask him about the day of the crime first, not present it to him. Could you tell us again about what happened that day? The day Detective Gibbon was murdered? You were participating in a ceremony over at the station, right? I've never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one. Because you were awarded this? Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. I finished up at the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department. You finished up at the office? Yes, just odds and ends clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is, until I was asked to take something back. Take something back? This. Oh yeah, Chief Gant asked you to hold on to that, didn't he? Yes, it was a piece of evidence in that case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. That's the story we heard yesterday. So you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to. That's right. Let's present both to him. Come on, Wright. You can't seriously expect to just sit down, chat with you about the case over a cup of tea. This isn't related to the case, remember? You said so yourself. So I did. Chief Gant gave this to you that day, didn't he? He asked you to bring it here from the police department. The chief is a very competent man. Sometimes he does things that don't make any sense. Maybe he was trying to draw you away from the crime scene. At least it's better than being incompetent and doing things that don't make sense. Certain detective comes to mind. Be easy on Gumshoe. He works hard, after all. And he's got a good moral compass. He doesn't pull any tricks. He plays by the book, basically. This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He had just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors Trophy. Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me. Yes. The trophy Mr. Marshall's holding. It's a little different than yours. Yes, you're right. I remember now. Remember what? That was when the official prosecutor's trophy looked like until 2 years ago. There's a story behind its design. Story? Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling it to us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. Okay, talking about it now. Yeah. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with 2 characters. The first means halberd, and the second means shield. Have you heard this story? Me? Oh, sure. Everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it, though? For Emma's sake. Very well. Long ago in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day he presented the king 2 items. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute. Objection! Those claims contradict each other. You can't strike an immovable object with an unstoppable force. You simply cannot do it. Very perceptive, but then again, you've heard the story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the very descriptions of these items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless. And thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born. Oh, I see, so the chipped shield and the broken knives symbolize... Precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words. But it's fine. It's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion. Even if it results in something as ugly as this. Wow, thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today. That's funny. If that's so, then why were you only given a shield? You'll have to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished. Chief Gant, King of Prosecutors Trophy, updated in the court record. Why does... why does Phoenix have that? You know, it wouldn't hurt if you put this up somewhere, like on a shelf. That has no meaning for me anymore. What do you mean, anymore? That's who I was last year. What good is it to dwell on the past? He's asking me? Why can't he just accept it graciously? Actually, something's been troubling me about the shields. Look, do you notice anything different? Different? Yeah, don't you remember? The other shield in the court record. I guess I'd better present this other shields. I already did, right? Yeah, I already did. I think SL9 incident is the only other thing for me to present. What about this resignation? Due to recent events, I hereby announce my resignation as public prosecutor. He really wrote a resignation letter. Wow, even when resigning, Mr. Edgeworth is cool and concise. Still, it wasn't his fault. Someone has to be held responsible. That's how it is in grown-up world. Yeah, but that responsibility means nothing if he just quits. Well, not everyone sees it that way. To truly take responsibility, you should have to work the rest of your life for no pay. Okay. That's one tough grown-up world there. Okay. They say where there's smoke, there's fire. Apparently I was so caught up in the smoke I lost sight of the truth. Edgeworth. The others are right. I have no right to serve as a prosecutor. But Mr. Edgeworth, you were only doing your job. I've always made my own decisions about what I can and cannot do. This hasn't changed. Forgiving myself is something I cannot do. Uh-oh, think he's serious. Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something. This letter of resignation, I wonder if I can use it for anything. An incident report. Yeah, he has nothing on it. I think we're good on this. Okay, the parking lot. Excuse me. Oh, it's you again. Would either of you care for a quarter pound of roast beef? Miss Star. I guess she's out of lunches. You certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? It's always you. Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. Okay. Her and her weird comparisons. Still, I never thought you'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago. Everyone in this trial was involved in the SL9 incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred on the very day the evidence from that case was due for transfer. This can't be attributed to a mere coincidence. Aren't you forgetting something? Handsome. You know that little scene I happened to witness? The instant Lana stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savored when eaten. Miss Star's hatred toward Lana. It all dates back to 2 years ago. Okay, so... Alright, let's talk to her first. Dark Investigation, Joe Dark. That's a name I'll not soon forget. Over half a year, oh, the pressure. Still, I don't think I was even more alive than I was then. What the heck does that mean? Those days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall, though, must have been going through hell. I mean, because of his brother's death. They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Her? Lana Sky. My sister? The best of the best were put on that SL9 case. First, they were led by that legendary duo. Lana and Chief Gowns. That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up our investigation. That's why we were so shocked over how it turned out. You mean with the forging of evidence? Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious that evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear, while other items were kept secret. Doesn't sound like an effective investigation at all. You don't have proof anything illegal was done. Not proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us save Goodman were relieved of our duties, most without even so much as an explanation. Then Lana Sky transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor. Lana always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Huh? Lana Sky was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter. She was being used? Take him again, Lana Sky. Can't lead the investigation with Lana's second in command. They were the best. They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they? Damon Gant's magnetism in particular was almost unreal. His magnetism? By that I mean his ability to attract evidence. He produced the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled. credible evidence. You mean... Well, yes, there were rumors about him even back then. Again, like, why didn't Gant take the heat? Instead of Edgeworth. Gant's the one forging evidence, not Edgeworth. No one dared confront him then. Take it she's talking about forged evidence. Back then, everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be like her. Really? Oh yes, myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked, and always watched out for the other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Mr. Marshall. When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would have ever recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating. Miss Starr. That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that? I don't know. She became a prosecutor and, like, changed who she was. Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she? Yes, thanks to Chief Gant's powerful influence. Chief. That's right. Having solved the SL9 case, his position as chief was secured. And, again, like, absolutely everyone else suffered because of that false evidence except for him. Strangely. There's only one thing left for him to control, and then no one can stand in his way. The prosecutor's office. What? You mean that's why Lana was transferred? If he could control the chief prosecutor, he can control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. But how could he control Lana? I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude there must have been a reason for her change. At last, I'm finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you, Miss Starr. You listen to me, Ricky. It takes more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been. Are you rhyming now? Can you tell me about this photograph? I don't have anything else to tell you, Miss Starr. The only thing I can give you now is Poppyseed rice set. Talk about cheap. Eat this and maybe you'll be able to tell black from white in court tomorrow. Really, she has nothing to say about this. Nothing at all to say. Okay. Let's see. SL9 maybe? Yeah, SL9. Let's see if she says anything at all. And if not, we just gotta move on. There's nothing else, right? Okay, we gotta go back. Criminal affairs. Oh, you're back. You're still here? Gotta make 150 copies of these files. Doing copying files. Turning into a regular DJ. You're a DJ as well? If I'm not mistaken, I think he means desk jockey. Oh, that DJ. Gotta admire your persistency, but my answer's still no. I'm not letting you in that chief's office, period. It'd be my neck on the line. That office is the last crime scene in the SL9 incident. I have to take a look at that. There's gotta be something we can do to make the detective change his mind. Present that resignation letter. What's this scribbled up piece of paper? No way. Sedgwick can't be serious. Is he ever not serious? I can't believe they pushed him this far. Sedgwick really feels responsible. When I first met him, I thought he was as cold as ice too. I know different now. We trust us detectives to provide him with sound evidence. But we betrayed him. Detective. That's it. Made up my mind. But, here, take my ID card. You can't do that. If someone found out, they wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report. Look at me. It's no secret I'm already at a loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated.
What? So at least let me do this. For Mr. Edgeworth's sake. Alright, detective, thank you. Gumshoe's ID tucked swiftly into pocket. Police department ID card allows access to areas of the PD open to detectives.
Okay, we're good on that now. Okay, so we gotta go back to the chief. The chief's office.
Here goes, Mr. Wright.
Okay, we're gonna examine everything.
We're gonna examine everything. We're in. If anyone finds us now, Detective Gumshoe's gone. That happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out. God.
Sorry, I thought you were a ghost.
Didn't even know you could slap a ghost.
Ah, Detective Gumshoe. What are you doing sneaking up on us like that?
Wasn't sneaking, I was just worried something might go wrong. So I came too.
If you're here, then what's the point in giving us your ID card?
Gumshoe's ID crushed and rendered unusable in pocket. Hey, don't do that to my card.
Why would I destroy his card? I don't know.
I hardly ever get a chance to come in here, so I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now.
You really do want to get fired, don't you?
Not if we're lucky. But come on, let's see what we can find out.
Least he could do is be like a lookout out there.
Got a bad feeling about this.
Okay, we got new topics.
That desk on the other side of the room, is that your sister's?
Yes, that's where I was waiting for Lana. On the day 2 years ago.
Is anyone using it now? No, sir. This is entirely Chief Gaunt's office now. Practices a strict policy of preserving the crime scene.
That's a strange reason to leave it there.
Leaves it as a warning to everyone else. He wants us to always be alert. Told us so himself at a New Year's party. Of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time.
I see. So ever since Lana left, no one ever touches that desk?
No one except Chief Gant, and the cleaning lady who's in here each morning.
Still, 2 years have passed since that incident. There can't possibly be any clues remaining.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
We came to look around, right? Because it's one of the SL9 crime scenes. I mean, that's your only reason for coming here, isn't it?
Why do you ask?
You don't think? You wouldn't be no. Oh, there's no way. Never mind. Don't worry about it.
Okay, now then, let's look around a bit more.
Hold on, not so fast, buddy.
What is it?
Someone tells you don't worry about it. It's supposed to start bothering you, pal. You just let it go with that.
Sorry, this guy's starting to get on my nerves.
Okay, so what's bothering you? You don't think. Chief Gant might be a suspect, do you?
Well, he's right, Mr. Wright. What do we think of him? Well, he's definitely a suspect. So it's finally come to this. What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't divulge my feelings yet.
There you go, ignore me again.
What do you think about this?
That's a decode record, isn't it?
Didn't I already present this to you? Yes, there's only one number left to investigate. Detective Goodman was entered the room with someone else. Some executive officer number. I've already presented it to him. Pretty sure it's GAN. But we can't connect those dots yet for some reason.
Okay, there's a cool looking set of armor up here. This is the real deal, isn't it? This armor and these weapons. Sure is, pal. Chief doesn't care for imitations.
Where's the pipe organ, now this armor?
Itchy.
Do you know how many taxpayer dollars must have gone into this room?
What, you mean we're paying for this?
That's it, I'm not paying 1 more cent on my taxes. You don't have any taxes to pay.
Be careful what you say. Who knows, the chief may be hiding his armor as we speak.
I don't think he'd fit in there. Even if he did, he'd never be able to get back down.
Cut out, you guys don't know how scared that guy can be.
Well, I know he's got an orange suit on, which should say it all, really. This is a safe, isn't it? Like, who else do you know walks around with looking like they're straight out of Halloween Lands?
with their wardrobe. He's got an orange suit on with a black undershirt. That word is ripe with injury. Okay, if you say so. Looks like a code needs to be entered in this panel to open it. And we're going to try straight sevens. Do you know what it is? I have a hunch. Oh, I know. I'm going to try my birthday. It's... I have a better idea. Here goes nothing. Yep. He was the one. Bingo. What number did you enter? Whose birthday was that, pal? 777. The final ID card number on that record. What? The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that night. You mean 7777? That ID number? I think you're 17 shy this time. It's going to be one thing, that Chief Gant's ID number. Mm-hmm. Say, anyone can look inside. Wow, look at the size of Chief Gant's desk. Speaking of that, when we were here earlier... Oh, it's you two. Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. I wonder what he was reading. Looks like a list of evidence. List of evidence? Most cases the list runs twice as long as this stuff. Look at this case name. Huh? SO9 incident. I wonder what this is doing here. Hold on, detective. What did you just say? I said I wonder what... No, about evidence lists. Normally they're twice as long. That's right, I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence. Half-size list of evidence. List of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. What would the other half of the list be doing here? I knew the chief must be hiding something about that case. It would appear so. I think he had everything to do with the case. Is there anything else here? It's not completed. Okay, look into the list. Okay. You can see pretty far from 15 stories up. Ooh, to drop. I skipped it. At first, the chief wanted to use stained glass for this window. Really? Why didn't he? He said he changed his mind because he wouldn't be able to see the view. Oh, stained glass or not, it's a huge window. At least it looked like a church or something. The organ. Chief's organ shows a sight to behold. Occasionally we hear it playing it from the Criminal Affairs Department. That's on the 2nd floor, and this is the 15th floor of an entirely different building. When the detective screws up, the chief calls them to his office and makes them listen to the organ for hours. Dang. What's so bad about that? Music soothes the soul. After that, the detective can't hear anything for days except the ringing in their ears. So it's an instrument of punishment, literally. Aren't the chief's ears affected? He never listens to anyone anyway. That's beside the point. Look at that giant window. Makes you want to crash through it and jump outside. This is the 15th floor. Don't go getting all suicidal on me. I'm sure. I know, I was just saying. Saying what? Ever since making detective, I always dreamed about doing something like that. Why? Notice how Detective Gumshoe has a lot of dreams. So long as he doesn't go crashing through that window when he gets fired. Don't say that. Surefire way to end it all. These shelves are mostly empty. Mother must have cleaned them out as she transferred over to the prosecutor's office. There's a small picture frame on the left shelf. Hey, this is when Lana and I went to that theme park. Long chapters, Diggs. For sure. Super duper long chapter. Check out the picture. This was taken on that day 2 years ago, the day Joe Dark ran out of the question room and tried to kill Emma. After receiving his award trophy, Mr. Marshall took a picture here. Then went along with Chief Gant to question Dark. I bet you never knew he'd be dead just a few hours later. Gee, you think? And this desk, finally. Lana's desk, it sure is tidy. Lana's always been a meticulous cleaner. There's not even any dust on it. Looks like someone's still keeping it clean. Does Lana ever come back here? No. Chief Gant will still keep it clean in the memory of the punch. It was the stuff legends are made of. Does he keep it in memory of her or in memory of the crime? Fond memories that time he made it all up. Okay, let's check in here. Any money there? How much does he have stashed away? Look, it's a shot from a broken cup. This somehow looks familiar. Where have I seen this before? There's something else here too. What's this? It looks like a piece of leather cloth. This is a handprint, isn't it? Hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once. Think the chief made up the design? I don't think so. Well, it was just a thought. Is that it? This is all that was in the safe? Apparently so, it's empty now. Piece of cloth with a handprint on it and a broken shard from a cup. They look like pieces of evidence. Yeah, but unless you can prove that they have something to do with this case, I'm afraid I can't just let you take them. After all, it's my neck on the line here. Great. Now I have to prove their relevancy to get them. How are these two items related to the SL9 incident? Come on, there's gotta be something we can show the detective. How about the plot? The plot and the print, I think. Detective Gumshoe, could you happen to look at this jar? I remember when the three of us put that back together. I thought those were the days. It's kind of early to be nostalgic. Wasn't this jar a piece of evidence from that case? That's right. One of the shards had an SL9 incident sticker on it. Doesn't this ring any bells? You know that fragment we just found? You mean this one? That was in the safe? Yes, that one. That was in the safe. Now that you mentioned it, it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits. Let me see that shard. I'll take a crack at this. Go ahead, Bell. Show us what you can do. Mr. Wright, here's some glue. If I can piece this together again, I'll prove the chief was knowingly hiding evidence. Here goes. That's gonna fit perfectly. How do I slide it in? Oops, keep right clicking on accident. Combine as Y. Yeah, there we go. There, fits like a charm. That, of course, means Chief Gant willingly and knowingly hid a piece of this jar in his safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9 incident. Hey guys, get a load of this. What is it? This piece you just attached. It's different from the others. There's a reddish line on it. Reddish line. That's blood. Oh, get it. Oh, Chief can't hide this in his safe. Let's stable jar updated in record. Because he hits him with it. That's why. And the other one is the print. Can't believe Officer Marshall would do something like that. You know Officer Marshall? Of course I do. He was like a mentor to me. When I first started out, he even gave me a small cactus. Really? Said, Dick, you should listen to all your troubles. Note to self, Detective Gumshoe talks to a cactus. Hard to believe he's just a patrolman now. Someone ought to trade places with him. What? Why are you looking at me like that? Maybe the glove. If I'm fired, I won't be able to give you any information, so that's why I have to get it all out of my system now. You understand, don't you? Don't be so negative, Detective. We do want you to share information now. Who am I fooling? I never had anything useful to share to begin with. Gotta stay positive. It's the power of positivity, Detective. Woohoo! It's the print, yo. You gotta get the print. Fingerprinting set. Of course. Detective Gumshoe, I'd like you to have a look at this. I know what that is, so you want to take some fingerprints. That's a great idea, Detective. I go to town, sheesh. What are you doing? Why are you sticking out your hand like that? Go ahead, take my fingerprints. It's not your fingerprints we want to take. Oh? Come on, this isn't the time for jokes. We're talking about that cloth we found in the safe. Oh, I knew that. Don't want the handprint on, right? Where's your sense of humor? Okay, Mr. Wright, let's check out for prints. Sprinkle the powder on the clock, then once they've been absorbed into the prints, blow the rest away. What are you, my mom? I don't have to be told a million times. Let's get this over with. Let's see. Controls. I need controls. A is dust. B is... What is it? Yeah, A is dust, I think. Dang it. What happened? Put in the glove again. Something about that glove. I could have swore it said. A is dust. I don't understand at all. Uh-huh. Okay, gotta check the controls out again. Bias compare. I'm pretty sure this is Gant's fingerprint. Wow, really? That doesn't match. Looks like we're out of clues this time. Yeah. It was inside the chief's safe, along with that shard. That means it's gotta have something to do with the incident. The one that happened right here in this room. She's right. We should check the fingerprints of everyone who's in here that day. Let's see if there's a high power worker. You just gotta have faith. Okay. It's not Gant's. Could be Lana's. Could be Goodman's too. Let's try Goodman. Goodman was in here. Okay, it's not Goodman. Could be Marshall. Let's see. Marshall was in there. It's not Dark. Could be Lana as well. Who's left? Marshall, Angel. I seriously doubt it's Gumshoe. Is it Marshall? Let's try Angel next. I wonder if it's Megan's. It keeps showing me this picture of Marshall's brother being murdered by Dark. So what does that mean? Angel Star was in there. No, not her. Could it be Gumshoe? I don't think so. Emma? What? It's Emma's print. Whoa. How can this be? What are Emma's fingerprints doing here? Found a match. Whose fingerprints were they? Oh, it seems the prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to get a match. Oh, that's too bad. I thought they'd be Dark's prints. Psst. Hey, you. Weird. What's going on here? What are the kids' prints doing inside the chief's safe? Don't ask me. Let's just keep this information from Emma for now. Here, maybe you should hold on to this. Piece of cloth. Found Chief got save evidence for something, but what? Where's Emma's prints? What was I to help? Of course. Thanks to your ID card, we were able to get some hard evidence. Now, that's not very kind, is it? In other words, if it wasn't for his ID card, he would have been useless. Isn't that right, you and the coach? Chief get. We didn't think you'd be back so soon. Fortunately, I'm a man who believes in signs. As I was walking to my meeting, I happened to look out a window and saw a stray dog run right into a pond. Just then I thought of a certain detective. Do you mean me, sir? Now then, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you all to leave. Yes, sir, sorry. Oh, you and the coach. Yes, sir. Drop off your ID card on the way out. You won't be needing it anymore. But sir. Now get out. Yes, sir. Technically, you don't have to call him sir anymore since he's not your boss anymore, which is a good thing. He's a horrible detective that dresses like he's straight out of Halloween Town. We'll be on our way to that. Wait. You, the one without the spiky hat. Don't go yet. Me, sir? I'd like a word with you. But sir, I'm not a licensed scientific investigator yet. You with the spiky hair, you're free to go. Mr. Wright. She's a minor, sir. I'm not gonna be able to allow that. Look, pal, I told you once, I told you 1,000 times. She's office is off limits. But no, you just had to go sneaking in there like that, didn't you? Well, we're probably gonna be putting your old boss away for a long time, so I think it was all worth it. I didn't say I didn't care anymore if you were fired. And if I knew it'd be like this, I never would have said it. Now that I've seen the evidence Chief Gant was hiding in his office, I think I finally started to get a picture. But why has she kept eerily silent about it all this time? Listen to me. I'm gonna try to smooth things over with the Chief again. Hit it, pal. After that, I heard from Emma. She said the police wanted to ask her some questions, so she'll be busy for the rest of the day. February 24th, detention center, visitor's room. I see, so the Chief asked Emma to come in for questioning. It's no use thinking about it. Tomorrow is the final day in court. I'm committed to doing everything I can to defend you, which is why I'm here. But I've already told you all I can. What you've told me over these past couple of days is absolutely nothing, not a single useful thing. Exactly, you're defending yourself on murder charges, and you provided zero testimony at all. Really, I believe I did mention something quite important, something I told you right at the beginning. I said that I was the one who stabbed Detective Goodman. You know, I think I finally figured it out. I know who it is that's lurking behind your words. You did a good job mentoring you. I'm rather jealous. It seems Edgeworth was right. Edgeworth. Once you're convinced you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. Dick-headed is the term he used, I believe. Now's my chance to get her to tell me the rest of the story. Here we go. I have to admit I was more than a little perplexed at first. You insisted you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. You have a picture of her in a blood-covered coat, and say that's pretty incriminating. That's when it hit me. It's not that you were unwilling to tell the truth, it's that you're incapable of doing so because of a certain individual. What an intriguing notion. Certain individual, you say. So you think I'm protecting this person? Protecting? No. I think it's afraid of is more like it. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to silence. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, who may I ask is this person you're speaking of? What I'm supposedly frightened of? What's this person's name? Damn. Well, this guy? Mr. Wright, you're addressing the chief prosecutor. Do not forget your place. I take it she's still not ready to spill the beans. My apologies. Could you please tell me a bit more about what you think you know? We were partners until 2 years ago. I respected him as a detective. Assuming he's respectable, then tell me something. Why would he try to hide his crimes? His crimes? Both you and Edgeworth will be brought before a board of inquiry for what you did. Specifically, hiding and forging evidence. Of course, these are serious offenses. Why is it, though, that Chief Gant's name was never mentioned? Chief Gant? Edgeworth didn't know the truth behind the forgery. The only party who could have possibly tampered with the evidence was me. I had access because I was second in command of that investigation. Yes, you, but also one other, David Gant. If you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you'll need more than just words. Show me proof that Chief Gant falsified evidence in that case. This is the jar. The jar, the evidence list, which I can't see anything on. Picture is drawn on the back of the evidence list and magic marker. Got a very bad feeling about this. I mistakenly didn't check it with Emma still in tow, so I wonder what she would have said about that. I don't know. This is the plot, the jar. That's the jar, for sure. I just found this in a safe in the chief's office. This jar piece and this piece of cloth. Do you know what these are? They're pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. The person concealing evidence was none other than Chief Gant himself. Now tell me, why are you taking all the blame for him? Touché, Mr. Wright. It's as you surmised, I cannot disobey the chief's orders, even if it means being found guilty for murder. Why not? Come now, Mr. Wright. You can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate in the murder of Detective Goodman. Or perhaps I should say follow orders. Yes, that's more accurate than cooperate. Although I can't tell you the details, I can say that I was given an order that day. I need you to dispose of Mr. Bruce Goodman's body. Find it inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car. Just as I suspected, despite what everyone believes, you were not the one who murdered Detective Goodman. Correct. So why didn't you just come out and say that from the get-go? I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. She's been telling everyone she murdered. The trunk's lock was broken, and I discovered that murder weapon while inspecting the body. A murder weapon? You mean Edgeworth's knife? No. When I found the body, this was the knife stuck in it. The knife from the SL9 incident, serial killer Joe Dark's knife. I couldn't just leave that knife in it, so I took it out and stabbed him with another knife. Why? That would be Edgeworth's knife. That's right. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand. That's the reason for the bandage on your right hand. Yes, it seems that I got blood on the victim's shoes as well. And then, she saw me just as I plunged the knife in. Miss Starr, huh? Stabbing a dead person in a prosecutor's parking lot seems like a bad call. Why did you need to hide Dark's knife so badly? It took a lot of work to finally close the Dark case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't ever want to be open again. My intent was to prevent that by whatever means possible. So you hid Dark's knife. The weapon used to stab the detective was evidence in the Joe Dark case. If it would have got out, which it would, the reporters would have a field day with that. You wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it in Edgeworth's exhaust pipe. Then I called my sister to tell her what happened and to ask her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler. You asked Emma? I didn't want anyone on the force to know about this. That would explain why Emma was so confident about Mama's innocence. Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day. Bad feeling? The truth is, after I received those orders from Chief Gant, the first thing I did was make a phone call. Phone call to Patrolman Jake Marshall. So Marshall, why on earth would you call him? The investigator for the SL9 incident had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden, and I needed help. He's the only other person I could trust. Or at least I thought I could trust him at the time. However, it seems that after I spoke to him, he went off on an escapade of his own. Oh, you mean, not wanting the case to die, he decided to take things into his own hands. He disguised himself as Detective Goodman and tried to steal the evidence. He had already stolen the ID card, but it seems he still hadn't made up his mind to break into the evidence room. These long chapters. After my phone call, any remaining doubts he must have disappeared. So your phone call caused the incident in the evidence room. afraid that's all I can tell you. But Lana, you've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Now please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow. Kid, I'm gonna try to put Gaunt away for a long time. He's never gonna see the light of day again, as far as I'm concerned. There's only one way to drive offline these demons. I've got to get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murder. And what went down in the chief's office 2 years ago? Scant 100%. 100%, we're gonna put him away for murder. He's never gonna see the light of day again. On the next episode, Phoenix Wright, we'll be going straight for the jugular, making sure Gant goes where he belongs. In Huskow. Not riding around on the force. His orange and black get up like the Halloween hero. Yeah, he's a criminal and must be treated as such. Join me on the next episode when we will see that happen. Alright, it's about 2:30 in the morning, so it's about time I shift gears to 100 years. And as always, thank you for watching.